So brush your teeth and floss with me. There's so much to learn and see. So come along and smile with me. It's the Kimmy Tutor Show.
That's me.
Hi, it's Kimmy the Tooth Tutor, and I'm here today with my friend Elvis. Hello! And we are here to read you a book called Doctor De Soto by William Steig. And it's a Newbery Honor book, so that means it's a very well-loved book. And we also have a fun craft to do. So, Dr. De Soto. Dr. De Soto, the dentist, did very good work, so he had no end of patients. Those close to his own size, moles, chipmunks, etc., sat in a regular dentist chair. Can you see it? It's so teeny tiny. Larger animals sat on the floor while Dr. De Soto stood on a ladder. For extra large animals, he had a special room. There, Dr. De Soto was hoisted up to the patient's mouth by his assistant, who also happened to be his wife. See this whole pulley system they have? It's amazing. Dr. De Soto was especially popular with the big animals. He was able to work inside their mouths wearing rubbers to keep his feet dry, and his fingers were so delicate and his drill was so dainty that they could hardly feel any pain. Being a mouse, he refused to treat animals dangerous to mice. It said so on his sign. When the doorbell rang, he and his wife would look out the window. They wouldn't admit even the most timid-looking cat. See, they're watching out the window. And the sign says, "Cats and other dangerous animals not accepted for treatment," because they didn't want to get eaten. One day, when they looked out, they saw a well-dressed fox with a flannel bandage around his jaw. Here's the fox. "I cannot treat you, sir," Dr. De Soto shouted. "Sir, haven't you read my sign?" "Please," the fox wailed. "He's crying. Have mercy, I'm suffering." He wept so bitterly, it was pitiful to see. "Just a moment," Dr. De Soto said. "The poor fox," he whispered to his wife. "What shall we do?" "Let's risk it," said Mrs. De Soto. She pressed the buzzer and let the fox in. He was up the stairs in a flash. "Bless your little hearts," he said, falling to his knees. "I beg you, do something. My tooth is killing me." "Sit on the floor, please, sir," said Dr. De Soto, "and remove that bandage." Dr. De Soto climbed up the ladder and bravely entered the fox's mouth. He's very brave. "Ow," he gasped. The fox had a rotten bicuspid and an unusually bad breath. He must not be brushing 2 times a day. "The tooth will have to come out," Dr. De Soto announced, "but we can make you a new one." "Just stop the pain," whimpered Fox, wiping some tears away. Despite his misery, he realized he had a tasty little morsel in his mouth, and his jaw began to quiver. That means shake. "Keep open," yelled Dr. De Soto. "Wide open," yelled his wife. Nope. "I'm giving you gas now," said Dr. De Soto. "You won't feel a thing when I yank that tooth." Soon the fox was in dreamland. Yummy," he mumbled. "How I love them raw, with just a pinch of salt and a fine white wine." Uh-oh. They could guess what he was dreaming about. Mrs. De Soto handed her husband a pole to keep the fox's mouth open. That was a very good idea. Dr. De Soto fastened his extractor to the bad tooth, and then he and his wife began turning the winch. Finally, with a sucking sound, the tooth popped out and hung swaying in the air. "I'm bleeding," the fox yelped when he came to. Dr. De Soto ran up the ladder and stuffed some gauze in the hole. "The worst is over," he said. I'll have your new tooth ready tomorrow. Be here at 11 sharp." The fox, still woozy, said goodbye and left. On his way home, he wondered if it would be shabby of him to eat the De Sotos when the job was done. Do you think that would be nice of him? I don't think that would be nice of him. After hours, Mrs. De Soto molded a tooth of pure gold. and polished it. Raw with salt indeed, muttered Dr. De Soto. How foolish to trust a fox. He didn't know what he was saying, said Mrs. De Soto. Why should he harm us? We're helping him. Because he's a fox, said Dr. De Soto. They're wicked creatures. That night the De Sotos laid awake worrying. Should we let him in tomorrow? Mrs. De Soto wondered. Once I start a job, said the dentist firmly, I finish it. My father was the same way. But we must do something to protect ourselves, said his wife. They talked and talked until they formed a plan. I think it will work, said Dr. De Soto. A minute later, he was snoring. What would you make for a plan? The next morning, promptly at 11, a very cheerful fox turned up. He was not feeling a particle of pain. When Dr. De Soto got into his mouth, he snapped his jaws shut for a moment, then opened wide and laughed. Just a joke. Be serious, said the dentist sharply. We have work to do. His wife was lugging the heavy tooth up the ladder. Oh, I love it, exclaimed the fox. It's just beautiful. Dr. De Soto set the gold tooth in the socket and hooked it up to the teeth on both sides. The fox caressed the new tooth with his tongue. My, it feels good, he thought. I really shouldn't eat them. On the other hand, how could I resist? We're not finished, said Dr. De Soto, holding up a large jug. Excuse me. I have a remarkable preparation developed only recently by my wife and me. With just one application, you can be rid of toothaches forever. How would you like to be the first one to receive this unique treatment? Well, do you think the fancy fox could resist? Nope. I certainly would, the fox declared. I'd be honored. He hated any kind of personal pain. You will never have to see us again, said Dr. De Soto. No one will see you again, said the fox to himself. He had definitely made up his mind to eat them with the help of his brand new tooth. What a stinker. Dr. De Soto stepped into the fox's mouth with a bucket of secret formula and proceeded to paint each tooth. He hummed as he worked. Mrs. De Soto stood by on the ladder. Stood by the ladder, pointing out spots that he had missed. The fox looked very happy. When the dentist was done, he stepped out. Now close your jaws tight, he said, and keep them closed for a full minute. The fox did as he was told. Then he tried to open his mouth, but his teeth were stuck together. Excuse me, I should have mentioned, said Dr. De Soto. You won't be able to open your mouth for a day or two. The secret formula must first permeate the dentin, but don't worry, no pain ever again. The fox was stunned. He stared at Dr. De Soto and then at his wife. They smiled and waited. All he could do was say, "Thank you very much," through his clenched teeth, and get up and leave. He tried to do so with dignity. Then he stumbled down the stairs in a daze. Dr. De Soto and his assistant had outfoxed the fox. They kissed each other and took the rest of the day off. I think it's very well deserved. So that was Dr. De Soto by William Steig. So our craft today is this little tooth rat, which I thought was very cute. So you need at least one piece of white paper. You can use white paper for this part, or you can use construction paper. So for the two of them, I just took one piece of construction paper and folded it in half, and then folded it in half again. And that's how I made strips for it. So you just need half of a piece of construction paper or white paper. And then you tape those two parts together. And then you tape these two parts. But of course you have to see like how it fits on your head. So that's that part. And then for this part, this is just a white piece of paper, and on it I have drawn the outline of a tooth. which is kind of like a heart at the top, but instead of going all the way in, the roots come down. So I'm just going to trace what I drew. You don't have to trace it if you don't feel like it. And then I'm going to cut it out. While I'm cutting this out, Elvis and I would like to remind you about things that you need to do 2 times. It's easy to remember because 2 starts with the same kind of sound as tooth, right? So 2 times a year you should go to your dentist. Not Doctor De Soto, most likely your dentist is not a mouse. But you should go 2 times a year. And you should brush your teeth 2 times a day, right? For 2 minutes. Isn't that cool that all those things start with the same sound as tooth? I think so. So those are important things to remember. And next time we're going to talk about flossing. And you should also floss, but you don't need to do that 2 times a day. You can do that 1 time a day. And I've given a lot of you flossers, and flossers make it really easy to floss. So you can use the flossers or you can use regular floss, and I'll show you both of those things. Maybe we'll make some homemade Play-Doh again because that helps us learn how to floss really well. Doesn't make a lot of sense right this minute. So, but it will. I'm going to erase all my little pencil marks. There you go. So here is the outline of a tooth. And then, so the eyes are just circles, okay? So those are the eyes. And then you have a smile, and you can make eyebrows over the eyes. And then this looks really creepy, like a robot tooth or something, but I'm gonna color in half of the eye, and then it looks like a friendly tooth fella. How's that? Does that look good? I think it looks friendly. And then you just tape it on the front of our little hat. So you can put the tooth face down. And there you go. I have a tooth hat. Well, thank you for spending time with us. We hope you are well and that you enjoyed our book and our craft. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye. Bye.